I hope.
Yep.
Okay, yay, we're live.
Right on.
Yay.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to season 5, episode 5 of Hunter's Hangout. And tonight we have a wonderful selection of people for you to listen to and listen to. I just said that. Well, we're gonna roll tonight, aren't we?
Hey, we started on time.
Okay.
Right out of the gates.
All right, well, let's get these prizes taken care of. So here are wonderful prizes we have for tonight. And the first one is this lovely mask from Face Factory FX. Yay! No one has clapping. We didn't enable clapping. Our second one is 2 flash crackers from Fright Props. And then Sinful Audio, original sound effects for haunted houses and escape rooms. We have a gallon of Bog Frog from Foggy's Fog. Something Wicked, Sounds of Horror and Halloween from Sam Haines. And to win those, all you have to do is comment on our Facebook page, ask questions to our wonderful panel here, and you will be entered to win these wonderful prizes. So now we have all of that out of the way. Tonight we have Kathy LeBeau taking your questions, so feel free to keep those coming for her. And we have the beautiful Jackie Lantern as your host for this evening. And with that, I will let her take it away.
All right. Well, tonight, first up, we have Tim Wilkie from Foggy Fathoms Yard Haunt, and that is in Goldston, North Carolina. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your haunt.
Well, I've been doing it about 25 years. Foggy Fathoms kind of took place 12 years ago. Y'all can't hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure. But yeah, I got about 70 animatronics. It's a yard haunt. I did the Halloween trails a couple of times, but now I'm strictly a yard haunter. But Foggy Fathoms was inspired by the movie The Fog by John Carpenter. So I drawed a sketch of a Elizabeth Dane shipwreck, and I built it in my front yard, and it was like 60 foot long, 8 foot walls, 30-some foot mast. It was an endeavor, but it turned out great. And of course, then the themes, I started adding everything that you could possibly, think of to it. So my daughter, Sailor, she's my tour guide. She walks people around the yard, and we've never really had no actors or anything, but a year or two ago, we had a buddy. He would get in a box. We had this big box, and I had a Michael Myers prop in it. We took the prop out and put him in it, dressed up as Michael Myers. And for 10 years, we never had anybody jump out at anybody. So people was kind of used to it until they got to that one. And they would get in there with him, posing for pictures, and they didn't even know it was a live person. So he was really scaring the crap out of them that night. So
Awesome. Very cool. Next up, we have Lawrence Fensky from Shadows Gate Haunt in Alberta, Canada. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your haunt.
We've been about 2 years.
I'm sorry, and Nikki too.
Yeah, it's my wife Nikki. She's the corn witch in our haunt. It was our second year this year, and the first year we just did it to try and see if we could actually do it, and it worked out pretty good. So we stepped it up a little bit this year, and our theme has been Hansel and Gretel. So we're enjoying that right now. And we got our inspiration from, I just ran across Jason Oliver's walkthrough from 2014 on YouTube. And up to that point, I didn't really know that there was haunters or anything. Like, I didn't know that there was a whole world out there. I was pretty surprised. And he was pretty
helpful.
Yeah, he was helpful. Gave us a lot of encouragement. So it was pretty cool.
Awesome. And then next we have Brent Wilson, Planet Doom from Idaho Falls, Idaho.
How you doing? So 1994, I was living in Florida, and I went to a haunt in Orlando called Terror on Church Street. I don't know if that rings a bell, but it was one of the greatest haunts of all time. And I was so inspired, I went home and built a walk-through home haunt in Miami, Florida. And we had 1,104 kids come and walk through the haunt before the cops shut us down because we were blocking traffic.
Oh, man.
So that was 1994, and I ended up moving out west in 95 and was living in condos and took a big hiatus from haunting and got the bug again a couple years ago. And so this is technically my third year, and totally obsessed.
We all are.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
And last but not least is Steven Stockinger from the Realm of Fear in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Hey guys. So we're in our 10th year now. We started as just a display haunt of a cemetery. And this is our second year that you're able to walk through, and now we're starting, an indoor walkthrough, covered up haunt. We're using live actors. This year will be our third year, with our live actors. And we use the local high school drama club, for our actors, all volunteers. They love it. They pretty much dedicated me to life, to act. So, yeah, it's good.
That's a neat idea.
That's great. Jamie, if you're ready, we can do pictures. Otherwise,
Yeah, we'll start with Tim, and we will show some pictures. Here we go. Oh, here. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, Foggy Fathom's actually, we moved to a different location. We sold the house and moved, so I didn't have all the buildings and the sheds that I had like at the other place. So a lot of this stuff this year, I was worried about how I was going to display it. So this was I did a creepy clown scene, and it turned out pretty good. So,
Is that an actor or is that a static prop?
that's a static prop. I mean, it's an animatronic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, most of the prop, I got like 70 animatronics. So.
That is really creepy looking.
Yeah, it goes back. Somebody else
Oh,
has a question?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I have a question for Tim from Matthew Miller. He says you have great lighting in your display. Do you use custom-made LED lights or store-bought?
It's actually those spiral colored party bulbs that I used to get them at Lowe's. Home Depot carried them. They only use like 3 or 4 watts, but they put out like 60. That way, when I first started out, I was using the 100-watt floodlights and kept turning all the breakers and all that. So, but yeah, that's what I use. And I got some LEDs now, and I'm upgrading.
Here's another really great picture.
Yeah, that prop, that's a death row inmate. It goes back and forth. And I got those electric cables above them that they'll go off, and kids love messing with them.
Here's another one.
This year I did a kind of a Walking Dead scene. I got like a cage, and it's a big long cage, and I got like 10, 12 zombies and animatronics in it. And like I say, when people come, they walk by it and they clap, whatever sound to activate them. And so that was kind of my tribute to Walking Dead.
Awesome.
This is a good one.
Yeah, this house is really close to the road where the other one was back off, but we did a graveyard right on the end of the house, and had a reaper there.
I love the lighting in this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We have a question from Jesse Anderson. Do you make your tombstones?
No, I'm too lazy. No, to be honest with you, it's got so big that I just honestly don't have time. So I used to make all kinds of stuff.
Here's another good one of your zombies.
Oh yeah, that's a daytime pic of the cage with the different zombies in them.
So are
They're
these
like
static or do these move?
The one on each side moves. The one in the middle, it don't. But like I say, I'm also close to the road, so used to people, they'd park at a parking lot near the house and come walking up, and now they can just cruise by. And I was worried about this community. It's a good community, but I was worried about theft, but I didn't have no problem. But now people can ride from the car and ease by, so we had a lot of traffic.
Tim, Jason Oliver wants to know, with all the animatronics you have, do you have issues with any of them breaking down, like during opening night or?
I have in the past. This year, the last few years have been good. Like I say, I got almost right at 70, and I've got 4 that don't work, and 2 of them went bad on me this past season. But now, about 3 or 4 years ago, it seemed like everything I had, due to the cold weather or something, quit working. But I got that fixed. Yeah, I have in the past, but for the most part, they work.
All right, who's this guy here that we're looking at?
Oh yeah, I love this picture.
That's a good one.
That's one of the 4 that quit working.
He still looks awesome.
Oh man, he was cool. That's the harvester. In the background, you see I got that big water wheel, and it works. Got an aquarium pump. It makes the wheel move around and all that. So I put up a cornfield, use it. It's kind of a terror barn butcher shop scene.
Very cool.
Very cool. Okay, well let's take a minute and move on. Let me take a minute while y'all move on. And we will look at some pictures of Lawrence's haunt. I hope.
Maybe.
Here we go. Yay!
Yay.
That was our ringleader. He was on stilts at the front because we built a big top tent off the front of our house. So he was out working the crowd as they came in. And he was on stilts. It was pretty fun.
That's awesome. His makeup is great.
Yeah, he did that the second night by himself. It turned out really good.
Awesome.
Now I love this picture.
Yeah, that's the tent. That's our house in the back.
So is this where they enter then?
Yeah, that's where they enter. And just off to the right, that's where they came out. So they went in, went through the front yard, around the back of the house, and then up the side.
Okay.
Is that same guy, the first picture right there in the
Yeah,
stilts?
that's him right there. Yeah.
You have the whole thing covered up all the way around?
All the way around the sides of the front of the house, yeah.
Now, do you keep the same theme each year, or do you change it up?
We're going to probably do one more year of Hansel and Gretel. But instead of just having candy, we wanted to have the circus in the front, like the carnival, bring in more kids.
Did y'all make that entrance with the clown?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And plus, making candy props wasn't all that fun for me, so.
Here's another great picture. Look at all those dolls. My goodness.
Yeah, that's right on the front stairs, right when you go in past the ticket booth.
That's awesome.
So they walked up through all of these dolls?
No, they just walk up to them and then down the side. And that on the side there, that was my son as Sweeney Todd. So he'd be swinging blades at people.
I was going to say, I wouldn't want to walk through those dolls. Oh, here's another good one.
Yeah, that's the ticket booth coming through. So we periodically had people in there or just the prop head talking.
That's cool.
Jesse Anderson wants to know, do you make the dolls and do you always have a carnival clown theme?
That's just the second year. It's only our second year, so we're gonna move off the clowns and stuff a little bit next year, do something else. And the dolls, I dirtied up a couple dolls, but we had a couple of dolls on loan too.
Here's another good picture.
Nice.
Yeah, he was really creepy. We went to another haunt. My buddy Todd Hodge, he has Hodge's Haunted House, and that was one of his clowns last year, and he didn't do it this year. So I said, "Hey man, bring your clown for us." So he came in. He did one night with us. He scared a lot of people.
Real quick here, before we move on to the next question, I do want to remind everybody that we are only answering questions on Facebook, and we are not answering questions on YouTube.
Oh, that's.
Very good.
Oh, and you know what? Because I bet
that's
someone's blowing up my phone right now. I forgot to mention. Let me stop sharing for a minute. I forgot to mention that we actually do have 4 more prizes tonight, and I don't know how I let that slip my mind. I'm horrible. We're actually giving away two tickets to the Trans World show floor and 2 tickets to the Midwest Haunters Convention show floor. And I completely forgot that. So you have to be going to Trans World, obviously, or to Midwest to win these tickets. So if you are going, be sure to put Trans World or MHC in front of your questions, so we'll know that you're eligible to win those prizes. And I apologize for forgetting to see that earlier.
Because you totally had nothing else on your mind.
I know, right?
Today was not stressful at all.
This is what Diablo gets for leaving me in charge. He gets what he asks for. Anyway, back to these awesome pictures. Here we go.
Oh, that's my wife, the corn witch there. And she was really scary. And from the first year, a lot of people were coming back and we're really happy that she was back. She held character the whole time and like people were blown away.
She was an excellent. I watched that video. She was excellent witch. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
That was
Thank
awesome.
Yeah, that's a great costume. And
The
set.
whole thing is great. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I love
really
the
fun.
background.
Yeah, if you haven't
man,
checked
that
out
is
the
awesome.
witch video, you guys got to check it out. We have a question for Lawrence and Nikki from Christopher Presley. How many arguments do you get in about the haunt, or do you always agree with the layout and design?
You can go ahead.
You know what? I leave that part because he's super creative. I leave it up to him and I just follow what he does and I do what he wants me to do. I'm pretty easy, just with Halloween.
She's very patient, as I'm sure everybody knows here.
Wow.
All right, well, here's one more picture for you guys. And this is a beautiful one. Another example of awesome lighting.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one worked out really good. Actually, that was a hand-me-down from Haunted Wastelands, that whole facade there.
That is
So
beautiful.
we were pretty happy to get it, and we put it to good use for sure.
Nikki, Teresa Hansel wants to know how long to do makeup. It's awesome.
You know what? That night, it took me, I think, about 45 minutes freaking out because our makeup artist didn't show up. So I was left to do it on my own.
Oh,
And it turned out
wow.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have any more questions while I move on to the next pictures?
Just one more from Jesse Anderson. Does the facade break down? Does your
So I'm sorry.
breakdown, just your haunt breakdown easy? Does your facade?
Oh yeah, it's pretty quick. Yeah, that last one we looked at is 6 pieces. So it comes down.
awesome.
It comes down and goes up pretty quick. Jason did a good job building it for sure.
Okay, now we have some pictures for Brent. Here's the first one. Do you want to tell us about this picture?
Yeah, that is a pneumatic groundbreaker zombie using Spencer from Casa of Fear's design. I built everything except the mask. That's from Chris Russell at Twisted Toy Box. But yeah, it's just a standard pneumatic groundbreaker. And unfortunately, one of the cylinders busted towards the end of the first night of our haunt. And unfortunately, I hadn't gotten any video of it by then. But yeah, just your standard textbook groundbreaker.
It's very cool looking. All right, here's another one.
Yeah, that's just a Bucky skeleton with some liquid latex and some gel stain. He was just hanging up on one of our corridors this year and static prop, but I like the way he came out.
Yeah, that looks
It
really
looks really
good.
good.
Thank you.
Oh, I love this picture.
This prop was a hit, and it was probably the simplest prop I had. It's just a wiper motor running a rocking chair, and that's one of those Posente skeletons that I corpsed, and that one was a hit with the kids. We'll be bringing her back again in 2017.
That's creepy.
It's very creepy.
What did you do to corpse it?
That was a lot of my corpsing I do with the visqueen plastic. This one was mostly just great stuff and paint, and it gave it a really nice kind of meaty texture that I haven't been able to get with just the plastic.
It looks great. Really great.
Thank you.
Super
you.
creepy.
Okay. Oh, I love this one.
So
Oh, wow.
we had a werewolf theme to the haunt last year. The notion was the the first 600 square feet or so were all it was dedicated to werewolves. We had 3 pneumatic werewolf props, and then the balance of the haunt, which is about 3,000 more square feet, was the land of the undead. Once you got bitten by a werewolf, you had to walk among the undead until the curse is lifted. And so that one there is actually what we call a monster on a stick. If you look at Ghost Ride Productions website, they sell a monster on a stick. They have them at Trans World, and I saw it last year, and I was like, man, I could probably build that. And that's just a Ghoulish Productions mask. It's their Black Growling Wolf mask, one of my favorite masks of all time. And so I just built that one as a monster on a stick, and we had some windows, and when the kids walked by the windows, that guy would bust out. And I had a floor mat that was synced to a strobe light and a peekaboo controller for sound. So everything was synced up, and it was a really simple, easy prop that we got a lot of bang for the buck out of.
And I love how you're using the light in this picture too.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You notice I can't say enough about light. Light is just amazing.
What do you use for your lighting?
You know, I either do, most of my lighting is just from China. So it's a vendor on eBay, and it's a 9-volt LED. I actually plug it right into a 9-volt battery or a battery pack. I don't have to wire anything. It's great because most of my haunt is outdoors, about 80%. And then I've got some of those micro spots from Fright Props and Halloween Effects. Jackie, this is an example of, you were asking how I corpse that other corpse.
Mhm.
This is an example of how I do most of the corpses. And these are just pose and stay skeletons with a heat gun and some plastic. And the texture is pretty different.
It is. They look gooey.
Yeah.
But they look great. They look
Thank you.
gross in the most excellent way.
Yes.
Oh, this one's great.
Yeah, this one is another relatively simple prop. It's just a torso erector. So it's a half corpse in a half coffin. And when people walk by, there was a PIR sensor, and they would trigger it, and the guy would just kind of pop up out of the coffin and make his way into the corridor. And we'll be using that one again too.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Oh, here's another one.
So I grew up in the 80s. I'm a monster kid, and so I like to throw in like a little homage to my old school monster movies. So this is Lucio Fulci's Zombie, and he was just rotating. This one's an electric prop, and he just rotates. I got one of the Spider Hill Prop Works rotating mechs, and that guy just rotates at the waist. And it's actually, a super easy, simple prop that is really effective. And so I'm going to do more of those guys in 2017.
That looks awesome.
Thanks.
Question for Brent from Ryan Wilson. Where do you get your old furniture?
The old furniture where the rocking chair corpse is belonged to my wife's grandmother. And we ran out of room for it. I was like, man, I'm going to put that in the haunt. I'll just store it in the haunt full time. And so I lucked out there. I haven't had to buy any furniture because we have so much inherited furniture in our garage that happens to be antique and fit the theme totally. So that's just your generic cauldron creep. That was actually the first prop I ever built. That cauldron creep, and it still works. So we use it, And then the one on the other side is just a pop-up coffin lid. So the crypt opens up and there's some skeleton hands pushing it up. And that was probably my second or third prop I ever built. So
Very cool. The coals are awesome.
yeah, it's something, it's nothing new. Certainly not my design, but you've probably seen 1,000 of them, but it's a great prop.
Mhm.
I love those skulls. Down
Yeah,
on the
thanks.
ground.
I found those. There's a place where I go fishing and we have wolves that attack cattle and sheep. And so I'll go fishing and just find some cattle skulls and just bring them home.
So
Nice.
fortunate. You'll be getting a lot of messages from people wanting to know when they can get one.
Hey, if anybody wants to pay shipping, I got more than I can use. So.
Question from
Yeah.
Michael Peters, Brent. Do you plan on changing your theme ever?
Yes, yeah. I would say in 2017, about 80% of the haunt will be different. We're gonna this laser vortex tunnel was a total hit with the kids. we actually had some parents that were stoned that went through, and they loved it too. And so the laser vortex is absolutely coming back, and I spent way too much time on that skull arch. You know, I molded every one of those skulls. There's 76 of them, so I have to use that again. But about 80% of the haunt is going to change in 2017. A different theme altogether. There won't be any werewolves. As much as I love werewolves, I just don't want to do them again. I kind of blew my wad last year, but the theme is going to change substantially for 2017. I've already got the whole thing planned out. I've got floor plans done. I've got new mechanisms. Last year, I built all my own mechs. I built all my own props. This year, I have more ambition than I have time, so I actually have a couple of mechs on the way from DC Props and Dead Rising Props. So I'm going to try and do more set detailing and focus less on pneumatics and spend more time on set details. But the theme is going to change dramatically.
So what will you do with those old props?
You know, I think a couple of those pneumatic mechanisms I can probably rework into new props. I also had some vandalism last year. One thing I learned last year, I'm still relatively new at this. This is my third year, really. I learned from now on, I'm always going to film my haunt videos before everyone goes through the haunt. Like I said, that groundbreaker, I had a cylinder just bust. I don't know what happened. I still haven't had a chance to figure it out. And then I actually had some vandalism. The first werewolf, which is on an attack mech, when you first walk in, somebody busted the head off, and I know who it is. And anyway, always shoot your videos before anyone has a chance to vandalize your haunt. But I plan on reworking a lot of those props and using those mechs. But I would say we had about a dozen pneumatics, and I probably will have 15 in 2017. But really, I want to focus on detailing the set. And you look at some of the haunts out there, like I'll use Rutherford Manor as an example. The freaking set details in that haunt or in Lawrence's haunt are just mind-blowing. And I spent so much time building props last year that I really feel like I didn't spend enough time detailing each set. And so my goal is to achieve the Crimson Peak aesthetic. If you guys have seen that movie, the set detailing is incredible.
Wow.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's jump over and look at some pictures for Stephen. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell us about this one.
All right, well, that's my cemetery. Like I said, we started as a display haunt, strictly a cemetery. The last 2 years, we decided to be able to walk through the cemetery. Last year, we actually started, I guess you could say, a theme, or we themed it. Basically, it's now the caretaker has gone astray and started kidnapping people. Time kind of ran against me last year, so I wasn't able to sculpt the caretaker's mask. So we kind of did a play on the caretaker's daughter. But yeah, that's the walkthrough part of the cemetery area.
That was really beautiful. Again, with the lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, all my lighting is, this year I made all of it. It's all LEDs. There are little spots in PVC piping. And actually this picture here, the front facade, which is lit up in blue, I actually bought fog lights for trucks. I think I paid like $7 on eBay for them, for 2 of them. So the front is actually lit up with fog lights. That's actually the entrance to the walkthrough part. It was kind of a little mishmashy. The entrance and exit were too close to each other, so people didn't know where to go, even though I had a nice big enter sign up there on the center. So this year, there's going to be a total redesign. Time was against us last year. I mean, if it wasn't for my father and wife and my mother, I don't think half of this stuff would have got done. My job ended up going 7 days a week the month before Halloween. So building time was kind of rough. And that's my caretaker's daughter there. That's the caretaker's house where the caretaker was supposed to be. My
I love
wife,
that facade.
Yeah, my wife actually built that. I put up the frame. She did all the siding and the side rails and decorated. So yeah, she was a
pretty
big
handy.
help. Yeah, gotta love her. But so
That's cool.
yeah, that's all the
Mhm.
front facade. Up on the right is the Angel of Death prop, which was our big pneumatic this year.
That's awesome.
That
Yeah,
was
thank you to
amazing.
my father. We came up with the idea. He built it. I finished the controller and put it all together and hung them.
And that is as good as any pro prop I've ever seen.
Why, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that took a lot of time, but I mean, it came pretty much right down to the wire, finishing him.
Steve,
Because the control. Go ahead.
oh, sorry. What type of controller did you use to run that?
I was just going to get into that. Now, I use a bunch of controllers. I use Fry Props, and there's the man who built it. That prop is actually running off of 4 Arduinos, those 4 bangers.
Yeah.
I did on that one. Had some issues. I'm going to change it out. I'm going to go to a Fry Props. Not the Peekaboo. Because I need like a 14-channel controller for him. So I'm actually going to switch it up and get rid of the Arduinos. I had some problems with the Arduinos this year with boards burning out right in the middle. So I had to reprogram and swap boards out. But yeah, that prop came out. I mean, it was the hit. It was the whole hit. The routine was a little long. We're going to shorten the routine up on him. The head is actually controlled by a Frankenstein board that the whole staff puts out. So that controls the torquing and the 3-axis head movement. And then the 4 Arduinos control, the wings, the extend, the arm movement, the rotation, fog lights.
Wow, so that thing really did a lot.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was, it probably took us probably a good 6 to 8 months to build him.
Wow.
Wow.
Well worth
And it was just a matter of, trying to figure out, the right way to move it where it's smooth, because I believe the smoother the movement is, the more realistic it looks. So it took us a little while for it, and actually my father at the time he lived in Georgia. So he would bring it up for the weekend and he'd show me stuff. We'd play around and then he'd take it back, modify it. And then towards the end, he just brought it. Go ahead.
Was there a lot of trial and error on the wing mechanism? Did you nail it with the first try? Those are tricky.
No. Yeah. What happened was my father did all of the trial and error on it.
That's good.
But what happened was the wings are actually, not that they're heavy, but I guess the movement was actually bending the the mechanism that was on. So what he actually did is he took PVC pipe and wooden dowel and notched the wooden dowel into the PVC pipe for it to sit in. So kind of just like strengthened it up a little. So, and it seemed to work. But so this is my one of 3 Monster Mud Reapers. That is I can't think of the guy's name I got the idea from. But anyway, he's a monster. I didn't make that mask. I bought that mask. Like I said, we have 3 Reapers that we use. 99% of the props in my hunt, I build. We didn't use any. The only thing that we really buy are the skeletons. The pose and stay skeletons. I buy like 8 to 10 a year and figure out places for them. Like I said, time kind of gets into, the issue of what's actually can be done and what I can't do.
Steve, question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sure, go ahead. Nope, go ahead.
Question from Jesse Anderson. Is the Angel of Death all metal?
Let me think here how he did it.
There's also a question
I
from
believe
Megan. There's a question from Megan Larson asking how heavy it is too. So
it's about, I'd say 40 pounds. Just trust me, I had to lift it all the way up there on a ladder and secure him up there.
is it all metal or?
It's aluminum and metal. I believe the extend mechanism is metal, and then the body is made out of aluminum.
And Mike Ross wants to know, are your facades foam or wood, or what
Foam.
are?
It's all
Okay.
foam.
Okay.
They're wood walls, that's standard 4x8, wall panels. And then some of the panels are 1-inch foam, and there's a couple of 2-inch foam on it, but it's all foam carved.
Bill Bornder wants to know, do you find any problems with monster mud creatures aging or falling apart over time?
Last year we had a lot of rain, and even the year before, they soften up. The wind kind of blew a couple over the year before, but they actually held up pretty well this year. I got to touch up every year, but nothing major. My biggest problem this year was a damn woodpecker, believe it or not. And it's funny, I'm not the only one that had the problem. Davis Graveyard had the same thing. I have to redo my columns because the woodpecker pecked like 10,000 holes in it.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Jeez.
awful.
Yeah, I almost bought a BB gun and hunted him down. I mean, he ruined like 4 tombstones and both my columns, my big columns.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so that was my vandalism for the year.
Well, here, I've got one more picture up for you if you want to tell us about this one. Can you see it?
Nope.
Oh, can anybody see it?
I can see it.
I still see the front.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that the one
yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking about? Oh yeah. Well, that's my whole front yard that I do. My challenge is it's sloped, so putting stuff up and getting it to stay and not falling over is my issue. It's going to be expanded, and actually, I'm doing a redesign this year where the exit is actually going to be right there in the front, and the entrance is going to cover the whole driveway. And there's some stuff I'm retiring. This guy in the back corner is getting retired. I'm going to rework him. I'm building a new pneumatic this year to replace him as my greeter. I'm going to do a 12-foot skeleton that's going to erect up. So I have to start working on him.
Hey, Steven.
Yes.
The extender on your Reaper, is that a double scissor mech?
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah, it's, for the weight of it, I was a little worried when it extended out that, number one, it would pull my walls over. But the way I have it anchored, it's actually an 10-foot 2x6 that's mounted inside the wall. I actually cut the wall out to wall panel just to hold this thing up.
Yeah. When I first saw that, I was like, man, that thing has got some leverage. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah. It was fun putting it up. My father was like, why didn't you wait for me?
So how long do each of you take to set up and take down your haunt?
Oh, wow. Takes me 2 days to take it down and about 2.5 months to put it up.
Wow.
Because I usually build, like this year, my walkthrough part, as I went, nothing, I had a concept in mind, but like I said, time was against me. So
Right.
it took me about 1.5 months to build just my new catacomb walkthrough part.
Tim, how about you?
The old one, it used to take a month, but this new location, since I couldn't build the sets that I wanted to because we rent. So, and this past October, I had it up the last week of September, a lot of it, and then we had 2 straight weeks of hard rain, so I had to take it all down.
Oh.
Yeah, most of it, and I put it back up the last 2 weeks, and then we had perfect weather. So, and to take it down, I get a bunch of friends to help me. We knocked it out in a day.
Nice. Lawrence and Nikki?
We started the end of August, and worked steady through. And of course, we ran out of time and didn't get everything done we wanted to do. But taking it down took about 3 weeks.
Wow.
3 weeks.
Brent, how about you?
I took it down last year in about 3 days, but I left probably a full third of the outdoor maze up. We got a couple of acres, and I just left it up. It's pallets. I don't really worry too much about it getting messed up. But I started building last year in July, And I worked pretty hard between July and October. This year, right now, the snow is finally melting off. So this weekend, I'm actually going to, since we don't need the garage as much without the snow, I'm going to start building the interior portion and start framing walls this weekend. So I never really stop. You guys know how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christopher,
go ahead. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Christopher Arnett wants to know how many visitors do you get, and any problems with neighbors? I guess the whole panel could be asked.
Oh, he stole my question.
Anybody have any problems with neighbors?
No.
No?
The first year I actually, it's because I just moved into this house, so I didn't know how they were gonna accept me. But my neighbors loved it, absolutely loved it. And actually this year we had 2 new neighbors move in across the street, and I'm like, uh-oh, here we go. But
None of them have any issues with the traffic or anything like that? Nothing? No complaints at all?
No, believe it or not, this year, it was crazy. We did a lot of advertising this year. My wife does a side job. She does internet marketing, and she blew it up for us. You know, we had the news here, paper. We opened up 3 days, and we probably had close to about 2,500 people.
Wow.
I mean, it was crazy. And I'm sitting here panicking, like all the cars. I'm like, oh my God, the neighbors are going to kill me.
Tim, how do your neighbors feel?
I got great neighbors. Like the first 11 years where Foggy Fathoms was originally built with the pirate ship was right across from a church. And the church, they allowed people to park in the church to walk to the yard, and a lot of them came over and checked it out. You know, so and now I'm in a new community, great community. It's a small community, but nobody complained. It's no problems at all.
Wow, that is super awesome. Lawrence and Nikki?
Our neighbors are really good. On the one side, they let us use a bit of their yard too, and they like to be involved. And on Halloween night, she was in that little witch house on the side. And she was handing her candy out. So going through, they got candy twice. So it was pretty good. The kids love that for sure.
I bet.
It's a pretty new area too, so we didn't have fences. And last year it was a little difficult without fences. You don't get that enclosed feel. You can't take the people anywhere because they can see the cars and houses. But this year we put up some phony walls on the side, and it was funny. We were putting the fence up on the one side, and we were going to wait until spring. But all of a sudden I started setting up, so my neighbor jumped out and he had wood, and he's putting up the side on the one side, getting it so he could, split himself off from us. But they enjoy it anyway.
Nice. Brent?
I'm out in the country. My neighbors to the west is Budweiser. They have a big barley farm, and so they don't care what we do. And then I got 2 neighbors on either side that are super, super cool. One of them actually doesn't even have a house yet. They just have cows. And so I'm out in the country. And interestingly, our haunt started in Idaho Falls. I did the first one in Florida, but the one in Idaho Falls started out 2 years ago as a private party. And we probably had 40 people go through. And then last year, the word started to spread, and we had about 85, 90 people go through. And then I started getting calls from people and Facebook inquiries and stuff. So the word is getting out, and I fully expect in 2017, even though we're out in the country and nobody knows where we are, that we'll have a much bigger turnout.
Awesome. How long would you say it takes for people to get through your haunt from start to finish? Let's start with Tim. How about we start with Tim? Start at the beginning.
Probably 30 minutes.
Really?
And it's kind of self-guided. My daughter, she's 12 years old, but she's been doing it for years. She'll run people, show them the things, tell them how the props activate and everything. But yeah, it's a lot of. I try to set up sets where they can, envision what my dream is, I guess. But and we got good. I like on Halloween night we'll have a couple hundred, and I'm in a rural area too, which that's really good. I mean, people have to drive. Yeah. We've had people drive from a long ways to check it out. So.
Cool. Lawrence and Nikki, how long would you say start to finish?
Probably 10, 12 minutes, depending. Sometimes they run through. If they get a good scare, then they're going through a lot faster. But
do you just have a steady stream of people going in, or do you let a certain amount in at a time?
Yeah, we were letting in 4 at a time, trying to anyway. But some people, they have a bigger group. They got 5, they have 6. So then we slow it down and give everybody a chance to reset.
Gotcha. Brent, how about you?
About 10 minutes. I got about 3,500 square feet total. And some people run through, especially the kids that say they're not scared. They run through. You know how it is. And then some people like to touch props and go really slowly. And, we start to get a conga line. And we actually have started escorting people through our haunt. So you can't go through now without an escort. And that just works a lot better, especially when you have pneumatic scissor mechs running at 85 PSI. That could crush kids' fingers and stuff. You just want to be there to make sure they're not getting into trouble.
So how many escorts do you have going through?
It was myself and my brother. And so we didn't have a lot of volume or throughput, so it was easy that way. But next year, I'm hoping to get some more volunteers to help with that.
Cool. Stephen, how long would you say your haunt is?
Depends on how long they sit and look at everything. It's basically self-guided also. I'd say, if you actually stopped and watched, maybe 10 minutes. Not long. It's not very big. So, like I said, it all just depends on how much they look at. And, yeah, pretty much. They end up running through the cemetery. So,
Kathy, do we have anybody else with
Yes,
questions?
we have lots of questions. Ryan
Yay.
Smith wants to know, did any of you home haunts have problems with the clown crap that was going on last year? And how did you handle the problems? I'm kind of curious to know if anybody had any of that problem.
not me. I don't have any clowns.
No
We had
clowns.
weird clowns. I was a little bit worried about it at first, but we didn't have any trouble.
Yeah, I had a lot of clowns, but I put them to the back of the yard instead of near the road.
Ours were right up front, so we were going to have trouble regardless if it was going to be, but it worked out okay.
Anthony Lorden-Jan wants to know, question to the panel, how do you protect your props from rain, snow, wind for the outside haunts?
Woodpeckers.
That's a good question.
Let's see, BB guns. No.
That's probably my biggest challenge.
Right.
We have a ton of wind out here, and I've got to cover props up with tarps and contractor bags.
Sure.
And you got to do it if you're outdoors because you got to build it. It takes time.
Right.
Yeah, so that's probably my biggest issue as a home haunter.
Sure.
my pneumatic stuff.
Oh, go ahead.
Whoops, sorry.
Go ahead.
My pneumatic stuff, I only put out when we're open, and then I bring them back in. Anything that can get damaged by the weather, I don't put out. I don't keep out.
All right. Sharon Vino wants to know, how do you advertise? How do you all get the word out, especially for those who are out in the country and stuff? Is it Facebook or word of mouth?
Facebook's been huge for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah, Facebook. I've been in the paper 2 or 3 times. A lot of word of mouth. That's basically it. So.
We did
Facebook's a
banner.
big
We did
hitter.
banner advertisement. We did. It's. I'm trying to think what it's called. Target marketing. Like we gave specific zip codes we want to target, and every time that somebody in that area went to a page that had banners, our banner popped up.
Okay.
So it was actually pretty neat.
Nice.
And then we had the local paper who pretty much flooded everybody's news feed for about 2 weeks. Because the day after, me and my father went to go play golf. The guy was like, well, how'd you get off during the week? I'm like, yeah, we do a haunt. We close. He's like, you're not the haunt that it was in the newspaper, were you? I'm like, yeah, that was us. So,
That's cool.
yeah,
That's
we got
cool.
pretty known this year.
We were
Do
in
you
the local
guys-
paper too. It was good.
That's awesome. Do you all allow small children, or do you have an age limit?
Anybody who can walk through.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much anybody.
The paper actually said we were family friendly, and we had a lot of kids crying. I felt a little bad, but I didn't say we were family friendly. I said we weren't going to kill anybody.
Randall Taryn wants to know, what is your most successful scare tactic area within your haunt and or attraction?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes.
Don't all start at once now.
Let's start,
what
if
gets
we
them?
can go through it. Let's start with Tim.
What makes them cry?
I would like to say, this is my wife, Tracy, my partner in crime.
Oh, she's so pretty.
Like I say, it's basically props that, that you activate and everything. But the last year or two, we'd put somebody in a scene, nobody expected it. So probably the Michael Myers one was our best. So.
Lawrence and Nikki.
Ours was actors for sure.
Me.
Hiding, jumping out. She scared people, but she was really interactive. So we had other people jumping out.
Well, I made probably a few kids cry, and
Nice.
Yeah, they'd go walking in the house and then they'd take back right off.
Yeah.
Once they saw her.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
Brent.
I'd like to say it was all the cool props I built, but honestly, all it was, and this was by far the biggest scare we had, was my buddy wearing a ghillie suit up against the camouflage wall. And it's the simplest thing ever, and it scared the crap out of people. Way more than the props.
And Steven.
We had one of our actors dress up with a white face and a Grim Reaper costume. And as they exited the walkthrough portion, there was a curtain up, and he would stand on the other side of the curtain by the front door. And that's why people would be running out of my cemetery.
Oh my goodness.
Awesome.
Well, are you guys ready to do some more pictures?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, well, here we go. And we will start back with Tim. I hope this is your picture.
Yeah.
Yay!
That's mine.
All right, we want to tell us about this?
Yeah, that's a Reaper of Souls prop. It opens his chest and it's got a bunch of faces that light up. So I've had this prop for several
Awesome.
years. Always, it's been a great prop.
Very cool. All right, this looks interesting.
Yeah, we did a terror barn scene. Did a butcher shop with Leatherface, and this was the barnyard butcher, and he was on the side of the barn.
Very cool.
It turned out good.
Does he move, or is he a static prop?
Oh, he moves. Yeah, all that one hanging up. He tries to climb up a rope, and the barnyard butcher. In fact, he's right behind me, right over here. He's a good prop too. Just got him last year.
All right, here's another good one.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Don't throw rocks at me.
We don't judge here. You're okay.
But I love witch props. And I always got the inspiration of Season of the Witch, like a big witch gathering. So that's all these move.
Very cool.
Now, did we ask you before? I apologize if we did. Do you make these, or do you buy them already done?
Yeah, I buy them. Yeah, I'm Spirit Halloween. I get a lot of stuff, Craigslist, wherever I can find it. So.
Oh, I love this.
That's a good picture.
Yeah, that's that water wheel in the back. And like I say, I got a blue light on it at night, and it turns. It's got a water pump that puts the water on it, and for the terror meal. And then it's the pumpkin, the cornstalker prop. And it lights up. His head turns.
Very cool.
And the corn stalks I got at Lowe's, and I just use wood stakes and zip ties.
So now, if you're out in the country, do you have a problem with deer coming and eating your corn stalks?
Actually, I didn't this year, but the old location, yeah, they would come up. Squirrels too. They love the corn on them.
Oh, man, I had a time with that. Do you have any tips for those of us that have deer, other than taking shots at them?
Well, if they come up during your the night of your Halloween display, just say it's an animatronic.
Oh, here's another good one.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good shot.
It's creepy.
Yeah, that witch, it don't work. It quit working. You used to the head moving and everything, but yeah, I thought that picture turned out good with the lighting on it. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love the lighting.
Yeah.
Here's another witch.
She's
Yeah,
really
that's
like
the
this
spell
one.
casting witch. That's a good prop too. It's, like I say, I've been lucky with props. I know sometimes I've had people had a lot of problems with them, but I've been lucky.
Okay, here's another one.
Ew.
What clowns?
Yeah, these are the ones I put at the back of the drive so they didn't get shot. So. Oh, man, the clowns was just all over the news this year, so I was afraid to put them near the road. I was afraid somebody would take them out, but they all work. And if you see in the background, we have a movie projector set up and show movies all during October because people are coming in the yard all October, checking it out as it grows. But and we even do a Foggy Fallon's Kids Night. Have kids come over, we play Scooby-Doo,
Fun.
feed them and everything. So.
Oh, that's nice.
Very nice.
Oh, I like this one. Now, is that the same one that we saw earlier, or is this a different one?
Yeah, that's the corn stalker. It's just at night.
That's cool.
Okay, this is the last one, I think.
Yeah, that's of course the Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers. I just got the Michael Myers. It was kind of the holy grail. That one, Leatherface. That they're pretty expensive. You find them on eBay, they're going $600-700. But I was lucky. I hate paying full price or anything. So.
Well, I think that's the last one. Before we move on, do we have any questions? Any more questions for Tim?
Not so much for Tim. Lots of for the panel kind of questions.
Those
So
work too.
whenever you're ready for
Oh,
them.
yeah. We can go to one of those while I'm.
Susan Siebert wants to know, do you charge admission, donations, charity? What?
Was that for me or?
Yeah, you can go ahead and start, Tim.
Yeah.
No, it's free. The previous 3 years we took up food donations, and we probably took up 5,000 items of food, and we would give we'd spread it to local churches, and they would give it out and feed the needy, whatever. I personally took it to several families, but we had a good turnout. This past year being here at the new location, we didn't do it. We're probably gonna bring that back.
Yeah,
Lawrence.
we do.
Oh,
Sorry, I jumped again.
Lawrence and Nikki.
We were free too, and we just suggested that people bring for the food bank. So we did pretty good. We got about 450 pounds of food.
Wow.
That was pretty good.
A lot. Right?
We're pretty much small potatoes as far as turnout thus far, but I do plan in 2017 to collect some donations for the local animal shelter.
Good idea.
Very nice. Stephen?
We're free. We do a food drive for the local church for Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's nice.
We didn't do as
very
good as Lawrence, but we probably ended up with about 250 pounds of food.
Well, speaking of Lawrence, I've got his pictures loaded up,
Okay.
so we can jump back to him. And this is a beautiful picture to start with.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
that's. I got that idea actually off of Pinterest, and it was an archway with the pumpkins carved from the bottom and lit down. So I just put that on the entryway to the house. That's the witch shack where Nikki was most of the time.
That is beautiful.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome.
It's really cool.
Yeah, that one turned out really good. And that's her inside the shack. So
Nice.
pretty creepy. Like kids didn't want to approach her at all.
No.
I can imagine.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
They were
Absolutely
really
love
scared.
that costume, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And she was outside dragging her daughter back and forth, and people were like,
I saw
"What's
the-
going on?"
That's who she was dragging. I
Also-
saw the video of that.
Yeah, that's our daughter. She was the
Oh,
same.
that's
She was
funny.
the little girl at the front of the video, also.
Right.
I was going to ask you where I could buy that prop.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a person. It's incredible. Like
I
you
had a sore back and a sore throat for the next day. It hurt.
But she did really good, so now she's stuck. She has to do it all the time.
Oh, here's another good one. Now that is creepy.
Yeah, that's just the side of the graveyard. So our graveyard, it wasn't a really big area, so we made it into an S. So you just couldn't blow through it. You had to kind of go around. We have one of those spirit trees in the middle, so you had to go through an S, and there was zombies trying to grab you. And we had at times 3 actors in there.
I love that that screaming tombstone there on the back. That's cute.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this one.
Yeah,
right
that
here.
one. Yeah. It doesn't stand up too well anymore, but
It's old.
we prop it up.
Did you make that one?
No, I got that when I lived in a condo. I would just put up pumpkins and a couple of tombstones. So we moved out here 3 years ago. So the first year we didn't really do anything, and because we were the only house on the whole way.
Okay.
So we broke those out last year.
Are those real or fake pumpkins? Jesse Anderson would like to know.
Which ones?
Probably the ones on the walkway, I would guess.
Yes.
Oh, those are like those Funkins you get from Michael's. So
Okay.
you can, if you cut them right, you can get 2 out of 1 pumpkin. And then you just turn it upside down and put a little stem on top.
Oh.
This one here, this is the backside of the witch house. And it wasn't lit quite that much. We took some of the burlap out of the pallets just to get the picture. So it was quite dark back there, and we had a zombie back there. And she was scaring a lot of kids for sure.
That's a
I
great
love that.
photo.
Yeah, that hallway looks really creepy.
It
Yeah.
was very creepy.
It was a lot darker too, like I said.
Oh, I like this one.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's good with the guillotine and stuff. We had 2 photographers. This one was done by Heather Fryer. She likes to put a filter on all her pictures. So this one worked out really well.
Oh, looks great.
Okay, how about this one?
This was by her too. That's just that spirit hanging clown upside down, and that's right when you go in through the carnival. So that's her with her filter again. That turned out really creepy too.
And our lovely actor, Abby.
Yeah, that's Abby. She was good.
Oh, little Carter.
That's my son Carter. He was Sweeney Todd. He was really, really good. And the second night he was good. I had to let him have a couple of rums because he was he was really shy at first and he wasn't really doing too much. But
He
after
turned
a
out
while,
to be awesome.
he turned out pretty good.
He did.
And he's 18-ish. It was good.
Hey, you're in Canada. It's legal up there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, goodness. All right, here's a good one.
Yeah, that was coming right out of the witch house after that purple hallway. You come out there, and on the side there, we had like a hidden room where a zombie would pop out. So people would start running through there, but then there'd be another zombie chasing them back. So, and that's the start of the yes. You'd go around the back of the tree, and then you'd have to turn around to go up the side of the house. And then we had the FX in the window there.
Question from Anthony Lordignon. Lawrence and Nikki, were you both into haunting, or did one of you get into, or the other get into it?
I got her into it. I've always really liked Halloween, but I just didn't have the space to do anything big. So 'cause we were in a little condo forever. So now we had this place. So we're taking advantage of the size for sure. We're almost 3,000 square feet we can use, and we haven't built a garage yet, so that helps out.
Marty Bell would like you to tell us about your lighting techniques.
Actually, it's just floodlights and the fire and ice, and it's just placing them in the right spots. It's like trial and error. This year we did a lot of, with the red lights, we did from up top, and it spread really well.
No more questions?
Okay, well,
I'm sure we have more photos.
oh yeah, we do.
Print, or do we have more for Lawrence?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I thought Kathy was saying something.
I don't know. I have no idea what's happening right now.
This is what happens when you put this many girls together. There's a reason there's supposed to be a boy here.
Technical difficulties.
Okay, well let's move on to Brent's pictures because I have those loaded up. And here we go. Tell us about this one.
That was just a pose and stay. My son used to call her algae mouth or moss mouth, but just a pose and stay skeleton that I corpsed and then covered in moss. We had a corridor where you walk through it and there were corpses everywhere, and that was just one of them.
I like that. In the picture, I thought it was actually worms coming out of the mouth.
Yeah, actually, that's just moss. It probably in hindsight, it should have been worms.
Well, it actually looks like it. I love that.
Thank you.
Oh, here's a good one.
Yeah, so that guy was the very first prop as you enter the haunt, and I don't know if you can tell, that's a projection on our barn, and he was the guy that basically warned you about the werewolves and how, stick to the road, stay clear of the moors, that kind of thing. And so he was kind of our gatekeeper at the entrance. And
Real.
yeah, I bought the head. Well, I didn't make the head. I made the prop, but the head is from Ghost Ride Productions. Highly recommend those guys if you need one of those. They do a
That was
great
awesome
job.
in the video.
Thank you so much.
I enjoyed that part.
Here's a good one.
Yeah, so that I think of all the props at our haunt, that I call her Hagatha. It's not very original, but that's her nickname. She was probably the most popular. She kind of became our mascot. And so that's just a rocking chair mech with a wiper motor, but it was one of the more popular props. It's interesting, the most complicated ones were not the most popular. This was my favorite prop here. And this you asked which one was the most scary. This would be our second most scary prop. We had a corridor that was lined with corpses. So you walk down the middle of this room, and on either side of you, there were 3 different corpses. And when you got towards the end and you thought you were in the clear, this one would pop out at you on a scissor mech. And we got a lot of screams out of that one. That was my personal favorite. But not the one that got the most scares, but certainly a lot of fun to build and a lot of fun to see in action.
Lori Ross wants to know if you had any issues with fire marshals.
Ooh, don't jinx anybody.
I did not. We're in the boonies. We barely even have county government here.
Yeah. I'm out in Stickville too, so I didn't have no problem.
All right, well, here's another picture. You want to tell us about this one?
Yeah, so we had a pneumatic zombie breakout cage. And I've got a few subscribers on YouTube, and actually a lot of people have asked me how I built this one. That head is from Dave Schonk over at Closed Casket Studios. So like I said, I make the props, but I don't make the masks or the bus. I'm just no good at that. But anyway, that guy was a PVC arms and legs. And so that dude plus one other zombie we had inside a fenced enclosure. And I've had people ask me on YouTube, how do you build that? It's actually the easiest thing in the world to build. And I'm going to do a how-to video. I just didn't have time last year, and then I had to put everything away. But he was in a dog run, which is a fenced chain link cage. And when people tripped the PIR sensor, I had a pneumatic cylinder pushing on the cage, and so it looked like the zombies, their arms were just banging on the cage trying to get out at you. And that was a really easy prop. That was probably the best bang for the buck out of all of them. I will definitely do that one again.
Anthony,
there it is.
There you go.
Yeah, that's actually the cage itself. So on the left is the Dave Schonk Closed Casket Studios dude, and then the guy on the right, that's a mask from Trick or Treat Studios. But man, that prop was so easy to build. Could not have been easier. And the payoff was huge. So yeah, I will be doing a how-to video. It'll take about 3 minutes.
Kathy, did you have a question for him?
We have a question from Anthony Lordignan. Where do you get most of your skeletons, and do you buy them in bulk or after Halloween type thing? Or
yeah, Big Lots and Home Depot when they go on sale.
I have a really good question from Alan Hops for the panel. What items do you use and throw away every year and have to buy again?
Zip ties for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Moss.
Webs.
Yeah, webs.
Yeah.
Corn stalks.
Diapers.
Yeah, corn, for
Diapers?
sure.
Okay, well, we will move right along to Steven. Do we have any more questions while I'm picking up where I left off with his pictures?
Go ahead, move along. You can move along. I have questions as many as you'd like.
Yeah, that was a hint to I wasn't ready.
Well, all right then. Bruce Janzer has a question for the panel. How many extension cords do you use in your haunt or display? Like, can you just never have enough, or
How many what?
extension cords?
Oh,
Too many to count.
I mean, I know you don't know
Yeah.
how many,
for
but
sure.
it's something you just can never have enough of, right?
Every
Yeah,
year.
Borrowing
really?
from everybody.
Yeah, our,
yeah, I
our
went on
house
a
was.
hunt.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oops, sorry, everybody keeps talking. Go ahead. I'll shut up.
Steven, go ahead.
I actually went to like every possible garage sale and picked them up. And being that I went to 12-volt lighting, I actually had like a half a bin left over.
No.
Tim, how about you?
Oh, I got hundreds and hundreds, and then I always have to go back and buy more because I keep buying props.
Lawrence and Nikki?
Yeah, lots of cords for sure. In my van, actually, I still have a big pile of my buddies I'm supposed to take back. So, borrowing from everybody, the neighbors. Oh, do you got any cords? Oh, man, I need some cords.
Brent?
So our house was built in 1909, and we only have a 100 amp electrical service. So if I wasn't using low voltage LEDs on my lighting, I would be hosed. So I probably, as far as extension cords, probably use a couple dozen.
Awesome. Do you have more questions, or should we move
I'm ready
to-
with some pictures.
All right, let's go with the pictures.
Okay, here we go. Steven, you want to tell us about these?
As soon as I see the picture.
That one looks like
There you go. How about that?
Okay.
okay.
All right. Well, that's more towards where you exit the walkthrough part. That's the Home Depot horse. He was supposed to be animated this year, but we just totally ran out of time. But we got his jaw moving this year, and he was spitting out smoke. The pumpkin guy in the back is another thing my wife made. That's a paper mache pumpkin. She didn't enjoy it, but it's all right. She'll do another one. She doesn't know it yet.
I love those horses. We didn't have those horses up here at our Home Depots.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't
Oh,
carry them up
ours sold out. My father actually bought that one online for us. No, that's just a nighttime shot of the angel, and like I said, I really like those floodlights I used. Because the year before, you couldn't see, the wall panels. So these new lights I bought were actually definitely worth $7.
It looks great.
Yeah, and I like your sign.
Yeah, that might get redone. Those pillows are getting redone this year because it's going to get moved. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use that arch again or not. Most likely I will. I'll figure something out.
It looks
But it's
really
definitely-
good.
Yeah, it's that was built 4 years ago. When I lived up in New York, I built it, but I never used it up there because the one year we were going to do it, we had the hurricane up there, kind of shut Halloween down for that year.
I like this one.
Yeah, that's creepy.
That's when you first walk in. That's the new part of my catacombs. That side was all static, and then that I actually built this room on the fly. It's nothing. I mean, it took me probably the longest to take this room down than it did to take the whole haunt down. I didn't think about anything. I just nailed, screwed, foamed, sprayed. You can still see the outline in my driveway of where it was.
Did you use a web gun for that?
Did I what?
Did
did
you
I-
use a commercial web gun for the spider
Yes,
weapon?
I actually I broke down and I bought one.
It
And I
looks
gotta say,
really good.
I tried. I used to use the rubber cement in the airbrush, and it worked great. But it wasn't. I couldn't get it thick enough the way I wanted it. So I broke down and bought one of the web guns, and I love it. I thought the webbing came out awesome this year.
It did.
It looks fantastic.
All right, that's looking down the spiral hallway, and the right side are more catacombs, and all the way at the end, there's a skeleton that jumps out at you. And actually, I don't know if there's a picture to the right side, but when you first walk in, you have a skeleton that jumps at you, spits at you, and then you take 2 steps and you get whacked with an air cannon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, and then when you get to the end, you get hit with another skeleton jumping at you. But this is all getting redesigned for next year. Because that room right there might be I might do like a cooler for the new theme.
I've got a question from Stone Digger. Have you ever had a prop that you've received complaints about?
No.
Not
And if
even
they
the
did,
last one
tough
you
luck.
just
They
told
don't
us about?
Nope. They don't like
Anybody?
it. They don't have to come to it. No.
Anybody
No.
on the panel?
Never.
No?
No.
No.
I had one where they complained about a Jason. It was a animatronic, and I'm like, you come to a Halloween yard? I mean, really?
Maximus Christian Bryant wants to know, what was a surprise difficulty in putting on a haunt? Like, what surprised you that you didn't think was going to be so hard that was?
Time. Trying to get everything done in time.
Sure, right.
I make because my haunter, I planned on doing 4 rooms, and only 1 got done. So I think time is, and I say every year, oh, I'm going to start right after the first of the year. Well, I haven't done crap yet, and we're already in March.
Mhm.
Not that I haven't done. I mean, I've planned. I know what I want to do, and I just started building all my controllers. But other than being outside and building, I haven't done anything. I mean, I still have my caretaker house up. I haven't even taken that down yet. But I'd say more time than anything.
I agree. Time for sure.
Mhm.
You never get anything done. Well, you get some stuff done, but you don't get it the way you want it to be. But a friend told me nobody knows about you.
Yeah.
Synchronization too is challenging. Making sure all the prop triggers go off at the right times.
Yeah, having flow for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the problems I had. Using those Arduinos, it's not like a Fright Props where you can do, a quick 5-second scare and then it resets.
Yeah.
You have to wait. The minute and a half, I think, minute and 15 seconds is the minimum scare time for the Arduinos. So I use the Arduino inside for the jumping skeletons and the air cannon. And I had to do 2 cycles for every 1 trip. And wasn't crazy about that. But at the time, like I said, I didn't have time to do anything else. So that's why I'm changing it this year.
Well, here's another picture of your guy with all the fog. This is awesome.
Yeah, I had many fog machine. The Angel had a fog machine. And then there's the Cauldron Creep. And then I have a coffin that opens and closes and pushes out fog. And then I got a fogger all the way on the other side. And yes, I use all Froggy Fog instead of Tater wants to know. I've used cheap fog. Oh, this picture. Oh, I'll get into that in a second. I've used cheap fog before. Definitely not worth it. I use the Bog Fog and the Backward Bay. Great fog. So see those beautiful, beautiful vines? Well, the dumbass that I am, every year I go vine hunting. Well, I rip these down and I put them up. 2 days later, I'm starting to itch. Ends up that's poison oak.
Oh no!
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh man.
oh, geez.
that was not my friend. I was laid up for 2 weeks with that.
Oh, brutal.
no.
But don't they look nice? Those
They
are
do
the
look
greatest
nice.
vines, I swear.
Totally worth it. We're glad you
Totally
did.
worth it, man.
So they only made an appearance for 2 days, and then I had to cut them down.
Oh man!
Good.
But I was so happy when I saw those. I'm like, wow, look at this. And the doctor's like, don't you know 3 leaves growing up a tree? I'm like, no, I didn't never heard that. You have nice vines. But I was so pissed when I found that out.
Well,
But
so
yeah, I had
does the effects of it die after being on there, or do
Nope.
like so did your customers get it?
No, no. That was like a month before I put that up.
Oh, okay, so it did die.
And then
but-
I pulled it down once I found out what it was.
okay.
Then I had to scrub
You could've
everything.
left it there and push the
Oh,
ones
please.
in there.
I would not want that. I had it on both my arms, from the shoulder down, both my legs,
Oof.
my neck, and my chest. It was the most painful thing I've ever had. So then I had to scrub everything down. I got bleach and water and scrubbed all the oils off of everything. I was afraid to touch a leaf on the ground. I'm like, I'm not going near it.
Wow. So that being said, everyone else, what is the biggest lessons you have learned in the past to apply to seasons going forward? Let's start with Tim.
Learning how to keep props dry and keep them standing from the wind. And here in Carolina, we have a lot of rain and a lot of wind in October for some reason. So just trying to keep everything dry. So,
Hey, don't jinx us. We've been good the last couple of years.
well, not last year. We had 2 weeks in a row, right 1st of October. It must have been down here in my neck of the woods.
Nah, we had rain. But Halloween, the Halloween weekend's been good.
Oh, it was beautiful. Yeah, the last 2 weeks of October was beautiful.
Yeah.
Lawrence and Nikki, how about you?
I'd say probably making things structurally sound. It was pretty shaky when we first put that tent off the front of the house, and we had a couple of windy nights, and I thought it was going to blow right off. It was pretty shaky.
What kind of did you use any kind of trusses for your roof?
No, we just used long 2x4s right off the side.
Okay.
Brent?
Well, I mentioned, I learned to film my videos before everybody goes through the haunt when things are still working.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I would say is Teflon tape is your friend and use twice as much as you think you're going to need.
And then Steven, anything else besides the poison vines?
Yeah, don't pull vines off the tree. No, not really. It always comes down to me is time management. My mind is always bigger than what's possibly can get done. I have big admirations, and so we'll see. We'll see how it goes this year. My plan is to do 4 rooms and new columns and redesign the whole cemetery to walk through. So we'll see how time management goes this year.
How many actors and other staff do you all have? Go ahead, start with Steven. Go ahead.
We had 8 or 9 actors. Because we were this year. I believe we did 4 days. We did Saturday, Sunday. What was 3 days? Because Halloween was on a Monday. Some of the nights they switched up, so we probably in total I think we had 12, and we had 8 actors every night. Staff wise, it's usually 4 of us. It's me, my wife, my mother, and father. We're kind of security and filling up fog machines.
All on a volunteer basis, then.
Yes, they eat very well. I used to be a chef, so I usually do it up for them.
Awesome. Tim, how about you? I know you said you had a lot of animatronics, but do you have any?
Oh, no. Like I said, a year or 2 ago, we'll have 1 or 2 to dress up and scare the crowd, but for the most part, it's just animatronics and set up displays. So. Of course, my Michael Myers, he was a little inebriated. We ended up having to. He done pretty good until he fell in the cornfield, and some little kids said, "Mommy, Michael Myers fell in the cornfield."
Oh no!
Oh, jeez.
Sorry, baby.
Lawrence and Nikki, how about you?
I think the first night we were open 2 nights, so the first night we had about 13 or 14, and the second night on Halloween night we had a few more because we were panicked. A couple weren't going to show up, so then we scrambled to get more, and then I had too many, so it was all good. I gave up my costume and I just filmed. It was good.
So, and the volunteer as well?
Yeah, they're all volunteer for sure.
Brent, how about you?
We had 2 actors and 2 escorts. I had my buddy in a ghillie suit, and my son and my niece actually took turns doing the monster on the stick through the window, and they had fun. But mostly animatronics.
Cool. Kathy, do we have anything out there in Facebook land?
Lots of, I think the most question that has been asked tonight, what inspires you all? Like what turns
makes
you
you
on
do
with
what you do?
Halloween? Yeah.
Let's start with Tim. No pressure.
Now I got to answer. Growing up in a rural area, nobody, and still around here, nobody decorates for Halloween. But when I was a little boy, there was this old couple, and they had some hay stuffed clothes and monsters they made, and they had like the cardboard with the cutout of a witch, and that just inspired me. I mean, nobody done it except them. So that woman actually gave me that cardboard cutout a few years later because they moved.
Oh,
That's awesome.
yeah.
So, but that, and of course, I love John Carpenter. I love the '80s movies. The Fog, Halloween.
Yep.
So
Awesome.
Probably the first prop I actually ever built was a homemade Jason. And
Really?
it must have been a damn good one, because about a week after I built it and put it out in the yard, somebody stole it.
Oh,
It's a bummer.
Yeah, I don't know what they did with it, but anyway.
Lawrence and Nikki?
I think my first inspiration, probably as a kid, was the Sleepy Hollow cartoon, and ever since then, I've been fascinated by Halloween. I really like organic, like vines and pumpkins and
Watch out for
corn,
those poisonous ones.
witches. Yeah, those for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Brent?
I grew up reading Famous Monsters of Filmland and watching great movies. When I was a teenager, Rick Baker and Rob Bottin and Tom Savini were at the top of their game, and I hit puberty about the same time Elvira went syndicated, and so I've been a huge fan. I've been a huge fan of monster movies my whole life, and the older I get, the more I become like my 12-year-old self. You probably noticed, but yeah, I've been obsessed with monsters since I was a kid. So haunting is a natural extension of that.
What's your favorite horror movie? Somebody asked that a while back. I don't remember who, but
Wait, hold on. Stephen didn't get to answer yet.
Oh, yes. That's right. Yes. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's a good question. It all started when I first got a house that I was able to decorate. You used to search the internet and look at Halloween props, and I think I saw the price of them and I was like, wow. But, I enjoy building, so I'll just look at pictures, look at other haunts, and it's kind of where I get my inspiration from. Just other haunts and other props
Yeah.
I see out there,
Pinterest.
Yeah. Yeah, I got my pin board, and it's just a matter of, I guess I'm anal, my attention to detail, and I don't like to do anything half-assed. Not that I don't think anybody does, but I like to go big or go home. But if I can't,
Clearly,
if I can't do it, I won't build it. Like this year with the walkthrough, I didn't have time to do it, but I spent all my time on those 2 rooms and detailing them, and just so they just weren't black walls. So I have to say my biggest inspiration is other haunts.
Okay, go ahead and go right into the next one about the horror movies.
Yes. What's everybody's
We can
favorite
keep,
Horror movie?
yeah, Stephen can keep going.
Oh, God. I don't even have time to watch TV, horror movies. You have to come back to me on that one.
Okay. Tim?
I love The Fog. I love the music. I got the soundtracks, all that. Carpenter's Halloween 1 and 2 and 3. I love those.
Lawrence and Nikki?
I think when I was a kid, I liked Friday the 13th and Freddy Krueger movies.
Oh, yes.
Now, probably Sleepy Hollow I like. Sweet, that's not really a horror movie, but it's creepy enough anyway.
Oh, no, that counts.
totally.
Yeah. Brent?
All-time favorite is still The Exorcist, but I love the first 3 Evil Dead movies with Bruce Campbell. Love them.
Yeah.
Stephen, anything come to mind yet?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, I grew up on Friday the 13th, so I would have to say those. And most recently, I'd say the Saw videos, all the Saw sequences.
yes.
I love all the mechanics that they use in there. I think that's neat.
Any more questions, Kathy?
I don't think we asked the number 1 question, did we? Like, where does everybody store everything? We didn't do that.
Oh,
I thought we ignored that one.
Oh.
you didn't get that memo, so I guess we get to answer it.
All right.
So where do you guys store your props?
In the barn.
Where don't I?
Yeah, every nook and cranny.
Absolutely. In the basement, storage unit.
Wherever
Sunroom.
they-
Outside.
2 storage sheds, garage, attic. Office.
Tuck them in beside the house so the neighbors don't see.
Trunk of the car.
Under the bed.
What about backstories? Do people have backstories? Do you all have, a story that goes with your haunt, or do people just go there and walk through?
Tim, let's start with you on this one.
I'm not that smart. Yeah,
No.
I got a bunch of themes, you know, so it's just a big yard of themes. Pretty much any theme you think of, I got it. So
Lawrence and Nikki?
Yeah, right now we've been doing the last couple of years Hansel and Gretel, so we're still going to continue with that. You can really expand on that quite a bit, and it's kind of right up my alley from a story when I was a kid. So we'll eventually change up, but
Brent?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Is there a backstory to your haunt?
Oh yeah, last year the backstory was the curse of the werewolf. You got attacked by 3 different werewolves, and then you had to walk among the undead until their curse was lifted. This year, 2017, there's going to be a brand new backstory that's hopefully not too complicated, but yeah, absolutely.
Stephen?
Yeah, last year was the first year we actually themed it and came up with the backstory with the caretaker. Not that anybody knew it because we really didn't advertise it. Or this year, the one big animatronic I'm building is, I think I'm going to have him at the queue line telling the backstory. So yeah, this year hopefully we'll have it all coincide with each other.
What one piece of advice would you give to somebody looking to start their own haunt from the very beginning? Like, what do you wish you would have known?
How much money it is.
Tim?
I'd probably.
Oh, go ahead. Keep going. Sorry.
No, go ahead. You can come back to me. Go ahead, Tim.
I'm gonna go with Stephen. Just know what bank to rob and what car to drive to get away.
Lawrence and Nikki?
I'd say don't be scared to go big, because when I first, a couple of years ago when I first started watching videos, I was like amazed. I couldn't believe that people did that much, and I had a couple friends that I got quick that did it, and like Jason Oliver, the Haunted Wastelands, and Therese, they're just like, just do it, just do what you want.
Don't be afraid. Yeah.
Yeah, don't hold yourself back because you don't think you can do it. Just get out there and get busy.
That's right.
Brent?
Do it because you love it. And I probably follow about 300 different haunters on YouTube and learn from them. And the great thing about haunters is they love to share what they figured out on their own with others. And so, I bring up that pneumatic groundbreaker zombie again. And, this guy in Broomfield, Colorado, Spencer, figured out how to build it. And now everybody's built one. And so I learn a lot from watching other people, and I get inspiration from other people. And everybody that I've encountered in the haunt community is super helpful and friendly and eager to share what they've learned, which is awesome. So, just soak it all in, be prepared to learn and take advantage of all the great free resources out there. Pretty much everything I know about haunting, including welding and building pneumatics, I learned for free on YouTube.
Awesome. Stephen, since I cut you off.
Yeah, don't tell your wife how much you spend.
Oh, that's probably a good one.
That's probably the biggest. I have to agree with Brent. The resources of the haunt community is, nobody's afraid to tell you how they did something.
It's endless.
Yeah. And that's even when my father started getting into it, he couldn't believe how open everybody was. But
Very approachable.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Do we have any more Facebook questions?
Yes, Megan Larson lives in a high wind area. Does anybody have any tips for anchoring props? I thought that was a really good question. You get
Cinder
better as
blocks.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, cinder blocks and Crown Royal.
Yeah, actually, I had my arch blow over one year when I first moved down here. I set it all up, and I came home and it was laying over. I was like, uh-oh. So I have 2x4s or 2x2s running behind it, painted black, anchored into the ground to keep that up. Everything else, it just depends on what it is. Tombstones, I rebar into the ground. A lot of my other stuff, everything is anchored. Just anchor it very well.
Yeah.
Jessica Group Santis would like to know, are there any types of props you will not do? Like gore, clowns?
That's a good
Any
question.
place you just won't go with it?
That's a good question. I think one thing I try to do is I'm really more into monsters and the supernatural. I'm not so much into serial killers and gore. I have no problem with gore. I just don't think murder is something that we should glorify. And if other haunters are into that, that's cool. I'm not passing judgment, but my haunt will always be about ghosts and monsters and the supernatural, and probably nothing about serial killers or murderers, just because I'm just not into that.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I got the serial killers, but I don't overgore it. I don't overgore it because I'm not into that really. But I'm not against anybody that is. So that's really nothing I'm against. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've stuck in with the cemetery skeletons. We're probably going to get into gore. I mean, not that I'm against it or big into it. I think there's a place for it. I mean, I ain't going to over glorify it, if that's even a word. But,
Right.
being that I have a serial killer, sorry, Brent.
Not passing judgment, buddy.
I don't know how big I'm going to get into the gore. I mean, it would be the first year that we're doing gore. I think the most gory we got is the zombies. So we'll see. Anything church related or satanic, I stay away from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into that either.
I'm not into the satanic either.
I am.
Agreed.
Not that I'm passing judgment.
We're more about mood. I don't think we don't have a lot of gore. We're just more about, the people that are walking through, we just want to take them somewhere. I don't want them to feel like they're walking through a yard. Just for 10 minutes, you can give them some kind of story. Let them do something.
Yeah.
Give them a feeling as opposed to splashing them with blood.
Question for the panel. I have another question for the panel. You ready?
We're ready.
From Bruce Janzer, if you had to pick one theme, what would it be? Like if you just could have one theme at your haunt.
Tim, let's start with Tim.
I guess witch, a witch gathering, something like that. And I love them all, but I guess that's probably the one I'd do.
Why would you pick the witch?
It's kind of old Halloween,
Yeah.
Just kind of standard. The witch is never going to die. So.
Lawrence and Nikki?
I'd go with that too. And it just turned out really good that my wife plays a good witch. Because
she does. Yes.
It's the only time you could actually say that to her face.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just told her to be a witch like last year, not this past season, but the one before, and she was awesome. So it worked out really well. And that's always been something that scared me as a kid. So
I have a really good cackle. Let's
hear it.
Let's
hear it.
I don't know if I
You can't bring that up
on a
and not
win.
do it.
yeah,
Come on.
She's not
Come on.
It's just a cackle.
She's
It's not
too shy.
singing.
Go off camera and do it.
Oh, that's all right. Awesome.
yeah, her video's pretty good. You should check it out.
Brent.
If I could only do one theme, I would do try to do a super, super scary version of the Haunted Mansion. Just have ghosts and corpses popping out everywhere, but have that same old school Victorian theme, and make it just as atmospheric as the Haunted Mansion, but make it a more grown up version that's quite a bit more scary. That would be my ideal theme.
It gets really eerie, like the feeling. Ugh.
Yeah, it's so atmospheric. I love
Yeah.
the Haunted Mansion. Yeah, they did a great job.
Steven?
I would have to say skeletons and like a catacomb, ancient ruins type theme. To bring up a pro haunt, the darkness, the way they do their ancient ruins. I mean, hands down. I mean, I just love the look of it. The stones and the skeletons, and that's all me.
Awesome.
Don't have the money they have, but hey, I tried.
Not many people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that leads me to another question. Do you ever want or plan to go really big pro?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Really? Wow. Awesome.
Everybody? Or I heard 2 yeses.
No.
No?
No.
I did a Halloween trail, and it was it's been about 10 years now. I did it 2 years in a row. We raised like $15,000 for Duke's Children's Miracle Network. But
Good for you guys. That's amazing.
the first year was really fun. The second year it became a job, and I didn't have as much fun.
Hmm.
I don't know if the rest of y'all guys, but I had a problem. I would have 100 people say they wanted to be actors in it, and on the night of the thing, I had 10 people show up. You know?
Totally.
I forgot. I don't have time. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've heard it all.
And then I had, I don't know, I was about to stroke out. I said, I just want to do my own. But I love,
That's right.
love everybody's stuff. I do.
Lawrence and Nikki, you were a no as well?
Yeah, we're just starting out, so there's a lot we can do right now to expand and get better and pay more attention to the details we want to.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah, I won't be going pro soon. It's my retirement plan. That's by the time I retire, I would like it.
Yeah, I'm about 3 to 5 years out.
I'm a little bit longer than that, but lucky.
Because of that woodpecker.
Yeah.
Kathy, do we have any more questions from Facebook?
Yes, Anthony Lordignan wants to know what your thoughts are on escape rooms. Will you ever attempt to create one?
Sorry.
Why are we laughing?
Why?
What's
We-
so funny?
Is that a joke? What's going on?
We did one a few weeks ago, and we were terrible.
We're dumb when it comes to stuff like that. Like,
They came in to help us over and
no.
over and over,
Yeah.
and then they even
You
gave
weren't
us
supposed
extra
to
help
say that in
turns.
public.
no, it's harder than you actually think. And we went in the easy one, but there was coding to decode, and it's just not something that,
Too much
I mean,
work.
I'm not smart. Yeah, for
Well,
me.
it wasn't just that. It was I wasn't even open to the clues that were there. I guess you'd have to have a little more practice, but it wasn't a good experience. I mean, we were not feeling very smart after we left.
No.
It was too difficult.
Yeah.
Brent, how about you?
Yeah, I think if I ever do go pro hunt, I think I probably will. I think you need to diversify nowadays. It's harder to keep up with the theme parks and just run a haunt for a couple months a year if you've got that much overhead. So this is going to sound hokey, but the whole reason my haunt is named Planet Doom is I've had this pie in the sky dream that I would rent this vacant Kmart building, and I would have this place that was all about monsters year round. So I'd have a haunt, I'd have a zombie paintball room, I'd have escape rooms, I'd have a place where we could do a costume shop and sell Halloween stuff.
Cool.
And so you got to start with the end in mind and think big. So right now I could be called Half Acre of Doom, but the concept behind Planet Doom is to include escape rooms and have one big place that's just all about monsters and entertainment and good times.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Steven?
Yeah, when it first came out, we did a lot of research on it, and we were pretty close to almost doing it, getting space and opening one. And we backed out at the last minute. And the way it came about is I have an escape room here in town, and then there's one probably about 45 minutes away. And we were we're trying to figure out something to do on the weekend. It's let's go do an escape room. It's a 2-month wait. So I look at the wife and I'm like, that might be onto something here. So we actually did, a lot of research. So, I mean, it's something we'll eventually get into. Just don't know when.
I found the whole time I was thinking about how I would decorate it different than they did.
It totally was.
I should have been more on the clues instead of, man, that doesn't look good. They should do this or they should do this.
Yeah.
Tim, how about you?
No, I never thought about doing one. So.
No.
Yeah,
for
mine's
everybody.
outside. Yeah.
All right, Kathy, we
Great.
got any other questions?
Yes, Darren Smith has a question. How long do you all run your hunt? Is it a week or all of October? I don't think anybody does all of October.
No.
I've tried. with my yard.
What's the longest everybody's got here? Like,
Tim, what's the longest you've ran?
A month. I used to set it up, I have it about October 1st, and it's like over an acre. But now I'm 50 years old. I ain't got the energy. So 2 weeks plus the weather, you know.
Yeah, right.
Lawrence and Nikki?
We just did both years. We did 2 nights.
2 days.
That was
Brent?
it.
Oh, Brent?
Thus far, just one night. It's been hard to get volunteers for more than one night, but my goal for this year is to do 4 or 5 nights.
Steven?
Last year we did 3 days. We kind of have an issue with Friday nights. There's a big high school football game rival that goes on every Friday before Halloween. So we don't open Friday. It's because there ain't nobody coming. They're all at the football game. So normally we do Saturday night. This year we did Saturday night, Sunday night, and then Halloween night. Next year we'll probably just do 2 nights, Saturday night and Halloween. But the display is, set up. So we have people that come by, take pictures, throughout the month.
All right, Kathy, I think we have time for one more question, and then we're going to head to prizes.
Maximus Christian Bryant wants to know, do any of you take time to visit other haunts, or are you too busy to do that?
Yeah.
What's that?
Absolutely.
I wish I could.
Let's start with Steven.
I want to try this year to get out. Maybe go out like Friday night and maybe Sunday night, whoever's open to see others. I always say I'm going to do it, and usually I'm always too busy working on my own to get out.
Brent?
Oh yeah, last year was great because we had a Friday the 13th in May, and I'm about 3 hours north of Salt Lake City, so there's a killer haunt in Salt Lake City, the Nightmare on 13th, and Scare Factory. They were open in May, so I was in hog heaven. We drove down there and hit the haunts, and we have a local pro haunt in town that's pretty darn good, and they were open in July. So I try and hit as many as possible. I'll be going to Halloween Horror Nights in LA this year. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Lawrence and Nikki?
I went up a month away, went to Calgary and went through Jason and Christie's Haunted Wastelands, but they still had a month to do still, but it looked really good. And we went this year to Rutherford Manor with Therese and Hugh. And that going through there it's just amazing for sure.
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Tim, how about you?
The last 2 years I went to Trish Redding's yard haunt. Love her work. She's like 15 minutes away. She's the closest haunter. She comes to mine every year. I go to hers, and I want to go see Stevens this coming year. I got to get up there since he's a North Carolina boy from New York.
Well, awesome, you guys. Thank you all so much. I think I'm going to turn it over to Jamie now, and she is going to announce the prizes.
Okay, well, actually, I'm getting ready to pass it back to Kathy, but before...
Right. We don't know who's doing what.
Yeah, but before I do, I did forget to say at the beginning, and I want to say now, that we do appreciate all of our sponsors, and they're so great to give us prizes every week. So please be sure to visit our sponsors for all of your haunt needs. And Kathy will tell us who won this week.
All right, are we ready? We've got the winner of Froggy's Bog is Jesse Anderson.
Yay!
The winner of the FFFX mask is Nate Dingman.
Woo!
The Bright Props Firecracker, Stone Digger. The Sinful Auto is Nicole Montroy. The Sam Haynes is Allison Allerine. Okay, and the Trans World tickets, Erin Casa.
Yay!
The MHC tickets, Jason Oliver.
Yay!
So please contact Judy Rydell by Friday to claim your prizes.
Great.
Yes, congrats to everybody. Hope you all enjoyed the show.
Yeah, and
Thanks,
For
everyone.
having us.
Thank you.
Thank
everybody,
you.
thank you for being on, and thank everybody for watching. And be sure to tune in next week to watch again. And good night.
Yes. Good night.